and when the temperature is up here in the basin, of course, so is the NBA draft, right?
Yeah. Well, like I said, we were talking about the dog days. Well, the dog days means that that the NBA draft is upon us. And I can't believe that it's this week.
Yes, I know. This week right now. What do you think the Suns are going to do with a 22 pick? What do you think they're going to do with a number 22 pick overall?
You know, in years past, I think we've all pretty much felt, at least the last 2 to 3 years, I think we've all pretty much concluded like, yeah, they're not going to keep the pick. Like it was almost a foregone conclusion that it was going to get packaged and rolled into a trade.
So let's start with that, Kay.
Yeah.
That right there. Are they going to make a pick? Because I kind of feel like they are. I feel like they're going to make a pick. I think they're going to do it right now. And you're looking at me like, well, not actually, Wolf, but I do. I kind of feel like they're going to actually make a pick with the 22nd pick overall.
Yeah, that's kind of the way that I felt really the last month.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, look, we could all be proven wrong if some deal materializes here over the next 3 days. But, and I say that because of, I think, what we saw both from the collective team that was on the floor, the way they performed, and when you look around the rest of just the Western Conference and the teams that you're going to have to deal with, it's still hard to believe. I mean, it's been 3 years ago that we went from being the second youngest team in the NBA at that time in 2021 to this past season where we were one of the oldest teams in the NBA. That's just how quickly it flipped. And that was really kind of the mindset, thinking that, that they needed veteran play in order to achieve, that elusive championship. It didn't come to fruition for a variety of reasons. But when you look at the Western Conference, and I'm not even talking about some of the teams that didn't even make the playoffs. I mean, I'll give you one example, like Houston. Houston was this close to making it into the postseason. This is a very young athletic team, and they'll likely have a few changes here in the offseason. But when you look at what you're going to have to deal with in the Western Conference this upcoming season, the next 2 or 3 seasons, you better get some youth. You better have some youth. And I know one draft pick isn't going to change all that, but you better have some young legs that you can run out there over the course of the season.
Well, and ESPN's Bobby Marks joined Wolf and Luke last week, and he shared what he thinks the Suns will do with that 22nd pick overall.
I think, if you're going to move it, it's going to be the night of, and it's going to be. I think your draft board will dictate if you move off it. Basically, if everyone you like. I know you're basically in a holding pattern, but if you're just not content with where you are, and what you'll do is you'll have options lined up as far as if Tyler Kolek, for example, from Marquette's not there, what's Plan B? This team is willing to take 22 and give us a future one and 2 seconds. So, I think that's what will happen as far as, and that's usually the norm as far as for most front offices, is that your board that if they haven't set yet, they'll set by this weekend, the top 58 and then some, will basically dictate as far as if they move off that pick there.
Man, that's me, Kay. That gets me fired up right there. I really like Tyler Kolek. As a matter of fact, I would say that he's my Tip Ryman right now. I was all over Tip Ryman before the Arizona Cardinals actually drafted Tip Ryman because of what I thought he was going to be able to do for this Cardinals offense. And Tyler Kolek is a guy that, to me, kind of comes in. He's not physically imposing by any stretch of the imagination. He's undersized, I would say that, for a point guard. I think he actually plays a little bit bigger, a little bit stronger than his size would say that he does. This is a guy that I think is super smart, like another coach on the field, on the court, I should say. So to me, I look at that and I think, man, I want to see that so badly where you've got a rookie point guard. And here's the great thing about it. It's not like he has to go out there and he's going to be playing 37 minutes a night. It's not like that is going to be the case. Coach Bud has already said he wants to have the option of having a point guard. It doesn't mean that he's always got to be out on the floor. It doesn't mean that. You've got enough guys who can carry the ball right now and move the ball.
Yeah, and look, the thing, and this is where I think we have, the Suns have kind of gotten away from. And this is why I'm so ecstatic that there is now a G League team here. Because you think about it, the last 5 years, there hasn't been any training ground, so to speak, within this organization. So now you've got a G League team. But speaking specifically of Kolek, what you see from him in day one is not what you're going to get in game 82. And that's where you put the trust in your coaching staff, the development of this kid. And when you look around the league over the last 2 seasons, especially young guys who came in, and yes, we can sit here and forecast and say, well, he's not this, he's not this, he's not this. But you know what he is? He's a 4-year player, so he's coming in more mature. So this checks the box that we know that James Jones really he doesn't want a 19-year-old rookie. I get that. But this kid comes in, he's seasoned. When you watch him play, you just feel like he has a sense of the floor in ways that don't statistically maybe jump out at you, but he sees the floor. And to your point, you surround him with those other guys. You surround him with developmental coaches and a coach that will not only push him, but coach him, teach him, let him learn through those mistakes. And when you're learning through mistakes alongside Devin Booker, Kevin Durant, Bradley Beal, and when you know what we know of him to this point, this is a guy that is a sponge, wants to learn, wants to grow, wants to get better.
You know what people are going to scream when I say this right now. You know what's interesting? I'm not saying he's going to be Steve Nash, but he reminds me of
Can
Nash.
you let the rookie play?
Wait a minute. I'm going to say Nash didn't have an explosive first step. As a matter of fact, he would accelerate and deaccelerate just to keep the guy guessing as to what he didn't have an explosive first step. He could shoot the three. So could Kolek as well. And I also think Kolek is actually a better defender, has the ability to be, at least. He doesn't have great feet. He's not a great athlete. But it's very interesting. Again, hear me well on this. He's not Steve Nash, but he kind of reminds me of some of the physical skill set of Steve Nash.
Let the record show June 24th, Wolf just compared Tyler Kolek to Steve Nash.
Shot over 40% from three. I'm just saying. Steve Nash
I'm not hating on that comparison. I'll take a quarter of that.
That's right.
How's that sound?
Thanks for watching Wolf and Luke. Tap to see more and click the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.